Every year we have the great joy of welcoming UU leaders from around the world, and we extend their gratitude to them for coming and being with us. Many have traveled a very long distance to share their experience, their wisdom, and their faithful solidarity during challenging times. And some of them were not granted visas to come here. So in this time of welcoming our guests, please let's show our joy and our appreciation. I introduce Eric Cherry to introduce our international guests.
Thanks so much. Thank you, Madam Moderator. And while we say that these leaders who have joined us from around the world are guests, it's an important reminder to American Unitarian Universalists that hospitality is our privilege and responsibility when people journey here. In fact, our guests are leaders of our global faith. They are your leaders, and as we welcome them, please hold in your heart the commitment they bring to the faith we share every day. And we hope you will be inspired to explore how your UU community can find itself within the global UU story and engage supportively. Such a privilege to introduce to you Reverend Tet Gallardo. Reverend Tet Gallardo represents the 28 congregations of the UU Church of the Philippines. She also serves in its constitutional commission, currently transitioning to a new constitution. Toribio Quimada started with 7 churches in the Philippines in 1955. He was killed in 1987 for his social justice work. Philippine UU churches have a majority of people of color using at least 4 languages. Reverend Tet serves as the minister of one of those congregations, the Bicutan congregation, where 70% are children, and young adults govern the Council of Deacons with 2 20-year-olds. Reverend Tet also serves in the consulting team of the International Council of Unitarians and Universalists, and she was this year's Baloch Scholar at Star King School for the ministry. Reverend Darihun Kriyam is minister of the Unitarian Union of Northeast India and its financial secretary. Darihun was ordained in August 2002 after 10 months training at the UUA. She is the first female minister among the Khasi people. Leadership in the Unitarian Union is generally lay-led, has only a few ministers and assistant ministers, and Darihun serves 8 churches and travels a lot. The shared and cooperative ministry with lay leaders is a blessing for the growth of the churches. Darihun travels to her churches with her husband and the 3 children, who are now 12, 9, and 6. The UUNEI is moving forward. Its motto, To Nang Groy, means keep on progressing. Reverend David Giroux is the Deputy Bishop of the Hungarian Unitarian Church. In the 1990s, David was a leader of the Unitarian youth movement, and after graduating from theological school, he served at the headquarters of the Transylvanian Unitarian Church as the counselor for church administration. Since 2009, he also serves as a parish minister of the Unitarian Church of Kolos. David's first involvement with global Unitarianism was within the International Association for Religious Freedom, the IARF. Later, he assisted the international partnerships of the Transylvanian Unitarian congregations through the UU Partner Church Council. In 2000-2001, he lived in Boston and worked for the UUA International Office. In 2009, he was elected the Secretary of the International Council of Unitarians and Universalists, and since 2014, he has served as the president of the ICUU, the International Council of Unitarians and Universalists. Inge Brandes from Germany was born and raised in a Unitarian family. Her first contact with the global Unitarian Universalist family was as early as 1990 when she acted as a volunteer for the International Association for Religious Freedom Congress in Hamburg, Germany. She has served the Unitarian movement for more than 20 years in various positions and is currently co-president of Unitarians, Religious Society of Free Faith. The German Unitarians descended from free Protestant congregations and are a deliberately lay-led Unitarian movement. The community's religious and spiritual foundations and aims are developed by a permanent working group of elected members as the Spiritual Council, and since 2014, Inge serves as a member at large on the Executive Committee of the International Council of Unitarians and Universalists. Vita Inge is Executive Director of the Canadian Unitarian Council. Vita has been a Unitarian for 25 years, and her work and community experience has been within the not-for-profit sector, working mainly with vulnerable populations and violence prevention, and for the last 5 years as the ED of the Canadian Unitarian Council. The CUC is the National Association of Canadian UU Congregations, which has recently experienced some big changes. The survival of a political audit by Canada Revenue Agency, a change in charitable purposes, and most recently in May, the first annual general meeting that was accessible electronically to all congregations for voting and participation. Perhaps the most celebrated change is the new vision for the CUC. As Canadian Unitarian Universalists, we envision a world where our interdependence calls us to love and justice. Welcome, Vita. Reverend Jorge Espinel is the director of the Latino ministry, Ministerio Latino of the Church of the Larger Fellowship. This ministry serves our Latinx and Spanish-speaking communities around the world. This ministry provides resources and opportunities for Latinx people to connect to each other and explore our faith. The ministry is also supported by the International Council of Unitarians and Universalists and the International Office of the UUA.
Buenos días, soy Jorge Espinel y soy el director del Ministerio Latino de la Iglesia de la Gran Comunidad, que sirve a la comunidad latina e hispanoparlante. Este ministerio provee oportunidades y recursos para que los miembros de esta comunidad puedan explorar our faith, nuestra fe en nuestro propio idioma. Este ministerio recibe el apoyo de la Oficina Internacional del UUA y del Consejo Internacional de Unitarios Universalistas. Me encantaría conectar con cualquiera de ustedes interesados en apoyar este ministerio.
Reverend Laura Fuchs is a Canadian and Swiss lifelong Unitarian Universalist serving since 2013 on the Executive Committee of the International Council of Unitarians and Universalists. She has just last month received an MDiv from Meadville Lombard Theological School, been ordained by the Unitarian Church in Westport, Connecticut, and was welcomed into preliminary fellowship by the UUA just recently. Laura will now return to her home in Switzerland, where in 2010 she founded a UU fellowship in Basel to chart a new path of international community ministry. As our moderator mentioned, there were two additional people we hoped very much to have at General Assembly with us this year. Reverend Fulgence Jaggi Jimana, living in Winnipeg, Canada, through Burundi, where he had started a Unitarian church in Bujumbura, was denied a visa to come to the United States, as was Samir Kaldi, a Syrian who discovered Unitarian Universalism a decade ago and has now found refuge in British Columbia in Canada, was also denied a visa to come to the United States. I hope that you will carry them in your heart, especially at the public witness later today, where love resists policies that are wrong and need to be changed. Finally, visit us online to find doorways into the global UU story, including ways to join the global UU celebration of the 450th anniversary of the Edict of Torda and the upcoming meeting and conference of the International Council of UUs in Northeast India in February 2018. Welcome into the global UU story, and please welcome global UU leaders from around the world at General Assembly this year. Thank you.